health hoppers. I just wanted to get on this suggestion right quick. Thought it was real good, so I said I'm gonna address this right away before I forget and get sidetracked on other things. This is submitted by Modesty is Cool, and she said, "Do you have suggestions for changing children's eating habits from unhealthy to healthy?" And yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Because as a parent, I've experienced this, not only with a child that had become accustomed to eating a certain way, but also with my child that I raised to eat a certain way, which ended up being a kind of unique experience because he was raised eating a certain way, and then I ended up out of the picture. He ended up back eating things that he would not have been eating if I was still there. I came back around and still was able to correct his eating habits, even after being exposed to certain bull. So, bullshit. Let me say this too while I'm talking about children. To you lame ass, I'm not going to get off the topic, but if y'all people out there, you got a problem with your children hearing me say certain words, then don't have your children watching me. That's your problem. That's your thing. I don't censor myself around my son. I teach my son the truth about this very language that I'm speaking, where it came from, who gave it to us, and why we are speaking it. So if you are a brown person and if that ain't type of information you teaching your children, then what you teaching them is bullshit. Talking about bad words and profanity and all that. Don't come to me with that bullshit. Really, I don't want to hear that bullshit. Like, I don't know another word to describe that besides bullshit. I said nonsense to you, but that's lame. You know, my son is learning Hebrew, Arabic, Nuapic, Japanese, Spanish, French, Greek, and on top of Anglo-Saxon. So he's going to be a linguist. And if that ain't what your child's going to be, then they probably going to be a dummy like you. So I just wanted to say that because some idiot tried to tell me to watch my mouth because they children is watching. I don't give a fuck about that, sir or ma'am, whoever you are. Are your children eating healthy? That's what you need to be worried about. Are your children fat and fucked up? Stupid ass. You got your priorities in the wrong place. But let's go back to eating healthy. First thing that you must do is lead by example. I almost forgot where I was going. Yeah. Lead by example. So number one thing, change must start with the parent. You're not going to be able to be in your room eating your whatever you like while you trying to tell them to eat their vegetables. You're going to have to eat your vegetables too, and you probably going to have to eat your vegetables in front of them. Because this is how they learn. They're going to be watching you. And if you're just telling them something is good for them, but you ain't eating it, then they know mom and your daddy is full of shit. Okay? Children are very intelligent. Do not underestimate the intelligence of your children. I really hate when y'all do that. And we do that a lot. They don't know certain shit. Now, they know a lot more than you. And if you learn to listen to them, they'll tell you what they want to eat. That's one of my son's mother's biggest things when I was not around. Oh, he won't eat nothing. He won't eat nothing. He picky and all that. But as soon as I come around, he eat everything I eat. That's all he do is eat. He didn't like to eat that shit you was eating. That don't mean he don't like to eat. He knew exactly what he liked. If you ask him what he liked, he'll tell you what he liked. If you don't ask him what he don't like, he'll tell you what he don't like. Now, if all he can tell you that he like is McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, chicken nuggets, that's all you've exposed them to. So you can't, that's a whole nother subject. They're going to have to be exposed to these things. So start exposing them to new things. You're going to have to do that. You're going to take them to different places. Y'all going to have to sit down and talk about what you're doing. Rationally tell them why we're making these changes. And make sure you let them know it's because you love them. When my son wanted to know, why are you always bringing me healthy food? You know, he loved it, really. Because he knew it meant I cared about him. If I tell him, nah, I don't want you to have that. Eat this. Why you want me to eat this and not that? Because I wouldn't eat that. And I love myself. So I wouldn't give you anything that I would not give me, that I wouldn't have. I don't want you to have anything that I wouldn't put in my own body. That's how much I love you. And he just, okay, that made perfect sense. He ain't have to know nothing else. My dad cares about me. That's why he's doing this. So you can't just say, 'cause I say so, and expect that to be good enough. Explain. Explain what you're doing. If they old enough to say, no, I don't want it, then they old enough to understand why they should be eating this way. I could have just said, talk to your children. Same thing. Talk to your children. Treat them like they have a brain. Okay? What else? You're going to have to be creative and give them choices. This is another main thing. Very important. My son when he started school, teacher started a habit of giving him treats for being well behaved. You get a piece of candy on Friday or something like that. So I knew it wouldn't be right for me to just take his candy. And while his sister, who's 9, and I really, was almost out of no hope for her. Once they get a certain age and you don't have the support of both parents, another important. I should have put that one like in here somewhere. But it's gonna have to take both of y'all have to be in agreement. Yeah, I guess that really goes with this, but it don't always be that way, because I was the one leading by example, while she might have snuck out and gave her daughter a granola bar because she's just weak or whatever. I don't know the reason, but you already have just ruined what I was doing. I'm coming in trying to already make your daughter, who I hadn't had anything to do with her for 4 years, I didn't even know her. I come in 4 years late trying to change everything, and you undermine all of that and go get her a granola bar or a candy bar or something from the convenience store, while I'm buying all this dried fruit and all this shit and all these cookbooks, and that's what I'm talking about. It's the type of situation you can put yourself in if you're not with a like-minded individual. That's very important. And then you come home, and matter of fact, it was so up that the child told me what happened. She was told, I guess mom probably told her not to tell, but she told me anyway because she knew it was wrong. At 4 years old, she had enough sense to know, let me tell him what we did while you was going to work all day, making sure we can eat good. What mommy did. But mommy will act like, well, what's the big deal? It's just a candy bar. It's just a piece of candy. Because she don't understand the magnitude of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? See, that's a big difference in mental states and consciousness to be with somebody in the same house where you don't want your child to touch this stuff, but your mate is like, well, what's the big deal? You had some. That ain't gonna never work. So y'all gonna have to be in agreement. This is why she didn't think my son ate nothing. This is why she always talking about he don't eat nothing. She couldn't get him to eat no salad. But as soon as I come around, He eating salad, seaweed, spinach, everything at 2 years old. But I'm going all day working. When I come home, you talking about he don't eat nothing. As soon as I come home with my food that I bought while I'm out, he eating it right with me. Now, the problem was, you weren't eating this in front of him. This is not what y'all were eating. Y'all have been eating peanut butter and jelly and whatever little snacks you could fix. Tofu or whatever you like. You know what I'm saying? You done got accustomed to the starchitarian diet and think you're doing good. And, you know, you have no choice but for this to trickle down onto your children. It's got to start with you. It's really got to start with mommy. If she's the one buying the groceries and preparing the meals, daddy's only going to become a problem, a thorn in her side, and all y'all going to be doing is arguing. Ain't nothing worse than arguing in front of your children about what they should be eating. Like sending conflicting messages to them and making it hard for them to make intelligent decisions about what they want to be doing. But back to the choices. To combat the problem with my son receiving snacks at school, I'll go to my health food store and buy little healthy snacks. There are healthy snacks. There are fruit sweetened candies, organic candies you can buy. You can buy little dried fruit pieces that taste like candy. You know, you don't always have to tell them everything. Just tell them it's a treat. You don't have to don't have to lie. You know, if they say, "Ooh, what is this, grits?" and it happen to be couscous, just say, "Yeah, eat it." You don't have to say, "No, this is couscous, a grain from the Middle East," and all that. No, you don't have to go into all that. Don't make it hard on yourself. If they think it's rice, you don't have to tell them it's quinoa. Tell them it's rice. Yes, it's a new rice. But give them choices. I gave my son a choice, so that he knew when he came home with his candy, he could trade it in for a piece of my healthy candy. And that was our system. We made a deal. That's what I'm saying. Talk to your children like they're intelligent. I made a deal with him. I told him why I didn't want him to eat that. And I told him what I would do. If you bring me your candy, I'll give you a piece of candy. And it's going to be better. I made sure it's going to be a bigger, better piece of candy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe give him 2 for his 1. Because you can do that because it don't contain no artificial ingredients. So give them choices and make sure that they are good choices. Don't give them a choice between Burger King and a veggie burger. Give them a choice between this veggie burger and that one. An apple or a mango. You want couscous or quinoa. You want salad, spinach or kale. You know? But give them the choice. Ask them what they want and make sure that it don't matter what they pick because it's all going to be good for them. Then, another very important thing, you got to learn to be, I was going to say creative again. That's not what I really want to say. It's really about taste buds and texturing things like snack bars. Recipes is what I'm looking for. That's what you got to learn. You're going to have to learn some good recipes. You're going to have to find some little cookbooks that are specifically geared toward raw foods children. Matter of fact, I think Brother Polite's daughter has a book, a cookbook, that's probably excellent. I haven't read it or seen it, but I would bet that's probably a good place to go. But yeah, something written by children or for children, and just think along the lines of what they're used to. Like, first, be searching for alternatives. I'm going to do a vid tomorrow on all the cereals you can buy. Just for every unhealthy cereal that they have on the market, there's a healthy alternative. But I don't want to endorse all of those transitional foods too much, like veggie dogs and tofu burgers and all of that type of stuff. I mean, veggie burgers and tofu dogs. Because those things are not really the healthiest thing for you or your children. But when you're transitioning, sometimes it's easier to get them to eat those things because that's what they're used to. But certain cereals are okay in moderation. There are healthy grains you can give them besides the regular Quaker instant grits and oatmeal that you had. Like there are alternatives that will be almost identical or better. Like they won't know the difference, and they definitely ain't gonna be disappointed by it. Even if they do, they'll be like, "This is better. What is this?" That's how when I started bringing my son home fresh organic cereals, real granola, even some homemade live granolas that I was making. He loved it. He would prefer mine over the store-bought stuff. And he was used to eating the store-bought stuff. He had got accustomed to that. So it's not impossible to do this. Like you're going to have to find these alternatives though, and the recipes are very important. All the little snack bars and little raw bars, kids love those. You got to be thinking about little stuff like that. Dried fruit. Like tell them it's a fruit roll-up. They love that. Like it doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying. If you gotta trick them into being healthy, then your intentions are good. So it's okay to not say, okay, this is a papaya stick. Tell them this is just a candy treat. So yeah, dried fruit. The raw bars and little raw cacao squares you can find, spirulina squares, and make sure that they're raw and organic, real natural bars. So you can go to the health food store and there's a whole bunch of them little bars and snacks and stuff geared toward children, but all of that stuff is not always healthy. So be careful and always read your labels and be aware of the ingredients and everything that you're buying. But yeah, it's not as hard as you think. You're going to have to be stern and be firm though. That's another thing. You can't be no pussy ass punctified parent. You're going to really have to stand on it. Like, that's one of the hardest things. I know a lot is probably harder for women because that's not in your nature to do that. But your child's health is at risk. You're the one who's going to be taking them back and forth to the doctor when they sick and treating them with the Pediacare and Pediaflu and all of that, whatever they got, because you didn't give them what they needed in the first place. You are responsible when they end up in the hospital. That's not their fault. That's your fault. So you have to be aware of that. Like, you're going to have to put aside what mama and grandmama them was talking about, because mama and grandmama them couldn't keep you or they self out the hospital. So they don't know how to keep your child out the hospital. This is your job to do that. Your job is to give them the tools so they can keep themselves from being sick. Teach them preventative health care. And you can't give them what you ain't got. So that's why I said it starts with this. You ain't gonna never be able to transition until you transition yourself. But once you've done it, it really ain't no choice. They don't have no choice. Dr. Phil said this best. And for all y'all who don't want to hear nothing the cracker got to say, that's too bad, because I get knowledge from wherever I can. But he said something that was very rational, made common sense, that no child is going to starve themselves. He wasn't even talking about necessarily getting them to eat healthy. He was just trying to get them to eat what you want them to eat. If you buy something, you fix a plate, and your child just sit there and look at it and say, I'm not going to eat it, whatever they do, you say, all right, you wrap it up, you put it in the refrigerator and wait for them to get hungry. Eventually, it might not be that night. And see, that's what I'm saying. Do you have the discipline? Do you care enough? Do you love them enough to say, okay, I'm going to let them cry, throw a fit, a tantrum, whatever they do, because all they going to do is try you. If you ain't learned that by now, that everything they doing is just to get a reaction out of you, they know exactly what reaction they're going to get before they do it. They done learned you by the time they're 2 years old. They know exactly how to play you like a fiddle. So either you're going to take control of the situation or they running it. You can't sit here and tell me your child don't like this and my child don't like that. You won't eat that. Who buying the food in the house? That's common sense, right? Your child ain't bought nothing, so they don't run nothing. If you deciding what's best for your family, then you have decided what's best for your family, and everybody in the family gonna have to come in line with that. If they see everybody sitting down eating, then they gonna eventually get with the program. Now, question is, are you trying to force your child to eat something that's unnatural to them? You sit them down to a big plate of a big ass slab of meat, and they look at it like that because that's disgusting, and you force them to eat it anyway? Well, you're going to have to pay for that. That's what I'm saying. Your child probably going to end up obese or with some health problems later. And these are things that's your responsibility. But if you sit them down to a plate full of vibrant, nutritious fruits and vegetables, and they don't want to eat it, then, hey, you wait them out. If they old enough to refuse, then they old enough to fast. And they might just need to fast for a night. So they know you serious. It won't take but one good time for you to show them you serious. Maybe two. You might have to go one. If your child go a whole day without eating, then they really need to fast. You know what I'm saying? Let them learn that lesson. Let them detox whatever negativity they got going on in them. Because if you're trying to do the best thing for them and they resist that, then that's on them. But you can't do nothing more than what you can do. You did your job by offering them what they need. So just remember that. Your child ain't going to starve themselves. So you just keep putting it. If all you bought was healthy food, then you don't have to worry about them going from eating healthy to unhealthy. All you got to do is worry about them eating what you eat. And sitting down with you and the rest of the family, or if it's just you, sit them down, let them eat some. Give them a little bit. Y'all eat out the same plate until you both are accustomed to it. So that way it ain't no confusion about whether we eating the same thing. And you're going to have to be stern. My son got a good habit of going for what he like off your plate. He know he like couscous and whatever, some tofu or something. If he see that, he might grab that and leave the salad there. So if you got to get in that type of situation, well, now you're going to have to do like the restaurants do. Bring the salad out first. This is what I taught her. Stop doing that. Stop giving him the choice between some vegetables, some whatever, some rice and whatever y'all having. Put the salad out first or put the vegetables out first, and everybody eat that way. Him, sister, you. Y'all eat your vegetables. He don't eat his vegetables. He don't eat nothing else. It don't matter how much you cry. It don't matter how much you beg. None of that don't matter. See, he don't do that with me because he know he can't do that with me. I don't want to hear it. None of it. I don't want to hear it, period. Bye. You don't want to eat? Go in there and lay down. Go read. You don't have to eat. And this is the way we have to be. You have to put your foot down. If daddy ain't there to do it, mom, you bear the responsibility. So, that's what it is, man. We just have to do what we have to do. Because our children's lives are at stake. It's not a game. It's not about, well, you did it. Well, I gave you some, and you will. Yeah, it's a lot of things that our parents did that we are not trying to mimic. A lot of things our family and ancestors have done that we need to be trying our best not to repeat those cycles. So, that's my most important advice to you. Be strong, stand firm, transform your kitchen. Do a kitchen makeover and make sure that whatever choice you give them, let them choose what they going to have for dinner. Breakfast and lunch. Ask them what do you want for breakfast. What kind of smoothie you want this morning. What type of sandwich would you like for lunch today? We got tofurkey and we got this kind of tofurkey. Whatever you doing, Got a spinach salad or you got a kale salad. You can have almonds or pecans. You can have cashews or sunflower seeds. Would you like a mixed all together? I can do that. Want some fruit in it? Just ask them what they want, but just make sure what you're asking them, it's gonna be good for them. But yeah, I think that's good enough, man. I think those are some good suggestions. All of those things work for me. I haven't had any other, nothing else I had to do. I had the time to a chair and stuff no food in their mouth. Just treat them like they're intelligent human beings and give them the opportunity to make well-informed, intelligent choices. You're going to have to give them all the facts first. Let them know. I sat my son's sister down and let her watch the documentary for PETA. The one they were doing about KFC. She didn't even want to watch. Oh, I can't watch this. But she watched it. My son watched it too, 5 years old. And he asked to see it. I warned him, but he saw KFC logo and wanted to know what that was about. So I said, okay, now you know the truth. So you sit down and have a piece of chicken after that. Later on in your life, when you got the chance to do that, and that's on you. But I'm showing you why we don't get down like that. See this? If your child can sit through something like that and not be affected, then, more power to you. You got some work to do. But it can be done. Because like I said, they ain't going to starve. They're going to live. Everything want to survive. So, just keep those things in mind. Lead by example. Keep them exposed to new things. Always talk to your children about keep them informed. Provide them with the best choices possible. Healthy choices. Another food line. Make sure you are in agreement, in unison, with both parents. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and make sure you got this shit established with their grandparents. Don't send them over to your grandparents' house and have them giving them cookies and pies and cakes. Talking about, I didn't know. I thought it was okay. Oh, you mean you can't have that? I had that happen when my folks knew good and well how I eat and how I'm raising my son. You gonna give him something and say, oh, it's just a little, oh, I didn't think it was nothing wrong with. See, we're gonna get into family and relatives too, so y'all don't realize how serious that type of stuff is. That's not the type of games you can play. Come a point where you might have to say, well, okay, well, you can't go back over to grandmama's house. Grandmama ain't got no sense. So, watch all of that. You're going to send them over there, you send them with a bag, and make sure your grandmama and grandpa know that if they eat anything that ain't in this bag, they won't be coming back over here. Y'all want to see them, you come over here where I can monitor what they eat. This is not a game, man. We have to be very serious about this because we're raising the next generation of people who are going to be out here either sick and tired or running this thing. And that's our decision as parents. That's our responsibility as parents. Find good recipes, good transitional recipes. Remember, like I said, dried fruits, nuts, seeds, dates, raisins, all that, basic stuff that would not be hard for them to get accustomed to. The little roaches on a log or ants on a log, they love that type of stuff. So just, be creative and find alternatives. Y'all probably can't even see everything on there, but I said it, so yeah. Always be constantly looking for the alternatives out there. There are plenty out there. It's too many kids, health food, junk products. Probably just as much healthy junk food as there is unhealthy. So if there is such thing as healthy junk food, that's probably an oxymoron in itself. So don't get caught up in all them transitional foods too. Use them as you can, but your goal is to try to be able to try to find ways to make these things yourself. And that's going to be the best thing you're going to be able to do. But all of that stuff. Anything they see you with, they're gonna automatically want to know what that is, what's up with that. So lead by example and do the best you can. I hope that was good enough. Hope that covered enough. We'll be back shortly with more Health Hop. Be healthy.